Dude, there has never been a criminal in the history that has followed the law. Not a single criminal has followed the law.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our show, All Things Everyday, where we bring back the art of the everyday conversation. I'm your host, Aditi, joined by my amazing co-host, Albert.
What's going on? Good to be back, everybody.
What do we have for the audience today?
What do we got? We got our first installment of Show and Tell. Now, Show and Tell is our current events segment of the show where we believe that people of not even just our age, everybody should be informed on what's going on in the world, whether it's politics, the economy, finance, business, tech, whatever it may be. We just want to bring to light what's trending on, making its way through the headlines these days. And let's just talk about it. Because you know what? Even if you don't agree with me, that's okay. We can still get along and be friends. Doesn't necessarily mean you got to hate my guts completely just because I don't agree with
Maybe a little.
you entirely.
No, but just you just learn from each other.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to let you go first. What do you have for us?
Oh, forgot to tell everyone at home how this show works is we each bring an article of relevance of current events within the past week, at least share with one another. Each one of us, we've never seen the article, nor do we know the contents of the article that each one of us brings. So it is completely an open conversation to where one person will provide the details, and let's just see where the conversation goes. Here's what I brought to the table. Headline reads, Biden says, gun control up to Congress. Quote, I can't dictate this stuff. Quote, I can do things I've done, and any executive action I can take, I'll continue to take, but I can't outlaw a weapon. I can't change a background checks. I can't do that, Biden said after stepping off Marine One on the South Lawn. He continues on to say, they showed me an x-ray, recalling how a doctor explained that a large caliber, remember this part, large caliber 9mm bullet causes a lot more damage than a smaller .22 caliber projectile. A 9mm bullet blows the lung out of the body, end quote. He continues to say there's simply no rational basis for it in terms of self-protection, hunting. Biden waved off arguments that assault-style rifles need to be legal to give citizens enough firepower to resist government tyranny. Quote, I think things have gotten so bad that everybody is getting more rational about it. He was echoing his fellow Democrats' stance on gun control. Biden pledged to take action to curb gun violence during a visit to Robb Elementary School and a local church in Uvalde, where a crowd of demonstrators chanted, do something. As you know, things have been making its way through the headlines of a yet horrible action of evil in the world, honestly, where a evil person shot up a school full of innocent kids, elementary school kids, and just wreaked havoc. And now the country is responding to said events by bringing up the topic of gun control again in this country. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on specifically gun control.
Yeah, I think this is a heavy topic for not just me, but everyone, because when I was in high school, that's when a lot of the mass school shootings were getting in the headlines, and my school had to actively make a plan for what would happen if our school was going to get shot up. And I remember my marketing teacher told us, and mind you, we were like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and she was like, if there's a shooter that comes in through that door, I'm going to jump in front of all of you, and you're going to smash the window with the hammer that's set right there. And it was the most terrifying thing that kids have to go to school wanting to learn and are faced with that just because of some 18-year-old whoever is trying to shoot them up.
Right. It's sparking debate again because in this country we have the wonderful Second Amendment, which gives us the right to bear arms. And the fact that Biden waved off the argument that it keeps off government tyranny is actually quite disturbing, because if you look around the globe, we are a superpower because we are the only country that is allowed to have such weapons so freely in our possession. Hence why we can do what we want here, because the government completely understands if they truly cause a complete uprising in the population, there's enough weapons in the general public's possessions that can do some damage in this country. And I think that's 100% the reason why the government can't do anything that they want whenever they want, regardless if they say that we're a democracy or whatever. It's starting to become a tyranny. So the problem that I have with this whole gun debate thing is they're trying to take that away from us, which is our right in this country to bear arms and defend ourselves. Now, in response to what happened to the elementary school, I still think if there was a trained officer on site, and of course this every day something new is coming out, so at the time of this recording, there's certain information that we don't know yet that could be available in the future. We just don't know. If there was an officer trained with a weapon on that school, the response time would have been much faster. I'm pretty sure I remember reading that it was a 12 to 15-minute response time from local authorities, which is plenty of time for an active shooter to make his way through the school.
Classrooms,
Yeah, so guns don't kill people. People kill people. And I don't understand why it's the government's position that they say that guns are the reason that people are dying. And I don't understand it. Every celebrity out there, everyone who hires private security, even Biden's Secret Service, what do they protect him with? They're all carrying massive weapons on him. Whenever you're going to a speech that he's there, and you know this from event planning experience, there is a trained sniper sitting somewhere watching over this person. And that is a fact. And the fact that it's even at lower level events, imagine what it is for the president. Like, there's plenty out there. He's just so... This makes me mad because even though I don't actually own any guns, but I'm an avid gun user. I think they're great tools to defend ourselves with. But I have enough knowledge to know when he said this, he said, a doctor explained that a larger caliber 9mm bullet causes a lot more damage than a smaller 22 caliber projectile. A 9mm bullet comes out of a handgun.
Oh my God.
The caliber, the 22 caliber comes out of an AR-15 or an assault style rifle.
So you're saying a handgun is more deadly than...
What he just said there, yes. Because a 9mm bullet blows out the lung, according to what he just said when he got shown the x-rays of gunshot victims. I'm like, yes. So what's this whole debate about banning assault-style rifles then? What is this debate then? He just contradicted himself. I don't understand why we're making laws to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you unloaded a lot right there. So
sorry, it just makes me so mad about the contradictions of just the people and everyone. And I'm like, dude, there has never been a criminal in the history that has followed the law. Not a single criminal has followed the law. So why are we making more laws? They're gonna break them.
And if you ban guns somehow, the criminals that really want them, they're gonna find a way to get them.
They're gonna get them.
They're gonna want them even more badly. But I think, first of all, the fact that he says he can't do anything is so terrifying. He's the president of the United States, and he can't have some sort of checks and balances that are gonna protect the people, especially young kids. But speaking of checks and balances, I was reading an article on that saying that they don't necessarily want to ban guns or have stricter protocols, but they want to implement mental health checks behind it. And I think that's really important because a lot of the shooters that we've seen recently, they've had some psychological things going on, or they've
Mm-hmm.
been identified by the community as there's something wrong with this person, and they've still been able to buy a gun legally.
Right. And here's the thing, we're all about controlling the factors that we can control and certain external things that we shouldn't and can't control all that well. Why are we trying to control those factors? Evil people will still exist.
Mm-hmm.
Evil people will still do evil acts of evil. That's just a fact. No matter how many restrictions you put in place, yes, I agree. It should be a little harder to get a gun in this country where it's a little more protected to make it harder. But like I said, if they're committed to doing an act of violence like that, they're gonna find a way to figure it out. And I showed you this video too, but Mike Glover made a great point on Instagram about defending our kids and teaching our kids situational awareness and the right responses and putting the right resources at schools to respond quicker to it. That, I don't know. There's no easy answer or no easy solution, I guess, but these acts of evil shouldn't keep happening like this. And the fact that they keep pointing fingers back and forth to blame certain things listen, kids are dying for just going to a place where they just want to learn, where parents trust these institutions to take care of their kids the entire day and teach them something. So one thing is for sure is that whatever is happening right now, it needs to stop. And you're right. He's the president. He can do something. And yes, it's up to Congress. However, this is the dude that also went around campaigning defund the police. He's the one saying guns are bad. Now he's saying he can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
See, nothing just makes sense.
I mean, politics, when does it ever make sense,
I just don't get it.
It's just terrifying to me, going to have kids in the future. And I think that society really just needs to keep these people in check because, like the Buffalo shooting, that kid, he had mental health backgrounds before. And so if you stop them early, there's a way that we can not stop the evil, because obviously as the world is growing, we're going to have more and more evil people, but make sure that they're caught before they do something bad.
It's checking up on one's community, making sure you take care of your own first, because how can we rely on the government to take care of us when the next door neighbor can probably do that better? They're the ones on the front lines every day to make sure that happens. And I just don't think that people take care of people all that well. I'm not sure at the time of this recording what the parent situation was like. I know he shot his grandmother on the way out, so I'm not sure what his home life was like, his situation. But one thing that you mentioned was the Buffalo shooting as well as this one. They were both young. 18. That's a very confusing time, right? And if you are not taking the right steps as a parent or even as a leader in your community, because I can't speak on being a parent. I'm not a parent yet. But we're not pregnant. But I know as a friend that if something's wrong with someone else, I will notice it. And I just don't understand how you are a parent or someone that sees this student, this person regularly, you can't tell something's up. Something's wrong. Yeah. I just can't seem to understand that. I at the office, when someone comes in a little later than usual, one of us is like texting each other, "Hey, you okay?" Because it's very off routine. So it's like that notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think too, because all of us were a part of one community or another. And I think the most important part is just being a good role model, because people do, especially adolescents, they do take notice and it can impact their life forever. But like we talk about, when we go to the airplane, when they give the video, they always tell you to put your safety vest and your oxygen on before you go help others.
Right.
You need to be a good role model to other people so that they can follow and they can learn and make a bigger impact in society.
Not even that, you gotta take care of yourself first before you can help others. How are you expected to help others if you can't even take care of yourself?
Exactly.
So I don't know. It's still sad to think about it, and I hate the fact that the media has to just blow this completely out of the water and just highlight this over and over and over. It doesn't help. Why are you highlighting these things? This is their easy what is it? Rise to fame or whatever that saying is, but it's a quick way for them to gain attention where these evil people probably never had it. Going through their lives, whatever happened in their lives.
I feel like media is definitely such a double-ended sword just because there have been so many mass shootings in the past few weeks.
But think about when one happens, they will blow it to the media all the way through, and then all these other evil people that have been thinking about it finally just got that extra push, like, ooh, I can be the front page of the news.
Or something snaps and they're like, oh, if this person's done it, I can probably do it too.
And get away with it, because if they live, the prosecution is not that good these days. They're letting weird shit go that's easily a crime, and I'm like, I don't get it. Why are you not prosecuting this? This was clearly a crime. They're just, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Glover also made the point that most of these acts of violence in terms of gun violence happen to be held in democratic held cities.
Like Texas?
Texas is a Republican state,
Republican, yeah.
but the city itself that this happened in was held by a Democrat.
It's weird because both the Uvalde shooting and Buffalo shooting are just the two that I know of off the top of my head, but they were both in minority communities too. Which is,
if you look at the demographics of Uvalde, it's a very Latino-based community. It's a very it's lower income. All right, so there's not a huge span of resources that was available to this community to begin with. So, small town, low income, and it was mostly Latino based. So you know what? People knew this guy, right? It's like you knew what was going on, and just the fact that this had to happen, and then, days later now, more shootings just keep popping up. It's just more fuel that I think that the media is just trying to play into the government's hand in order to take away our right to bear arms, because once you take away something, you're not getting it back. The government will not give it back to you. That's just,
I mean,
they're not going to give it back.
The U.S. also had prohibition, but we got alcohol back.
Right, but think about the fights, the crime, and all, like, when Prohibition, a great example. When Prohibition happened, what happened? We had all these speakeasies pop up, all these illegals stuff. They were bootlegging it. They were moving alcohol, and the crime was through the roof, because you know what? It's what the people wanted, and they were going to get it one way or another. So what's going to happen if the government decides to overstep their bearings in the United States here as far as gun laws? I just think
it's going to be like the purge.
Yeah, people aren't going to give up their guns. These whole buyback programs. I'm like, you really think they're... I don't even own a gun yet, and I wouldn't even do that. If I own my gun, I am not going to give it back, because that is my last line of defense.
And as a American, you deserve the right to protect
yourself. It's our right.
Yourself.
It's in our Constitution. Our Second Amendment right is the right to bear arms.
It's weird because the 1% that does this screams the loudest. Whereas the 99% have guns and they're totally responsible. They teach their kids how to be responsible.
Very responsible.
Everything's good.
Oh yeah. Brad, my friend from high school, and I guess our friend now, he's probably one of the most responsible people I've ever seen with gun. He is so educational. He will teach you. He will openly teach you how to use a gun safety, everything about it before you even get to fire it. And he owns a good amount of guns.
1 million.
Yeah, he owns a good amount of guns. I'm like, rightfully so. He's a hunter, which is fine. I have no problem with it, and I admire him for it. I wish I started getting into it earlier, but that's a responsible gun owner. He understands what to teach. He keeps it locked up very safely. He doesn't have it laying about all over the house or whatever. Like, that's a responsible gun owner.
When he took me shooting along with you but it was my first time, he told me like right off the bat, if I see you mess around with it, then I'm taking it away and never giving it back to you. And I was like, that is 100% fair. You have to learn to be responsible.
It's a deadly weapon. So, yeah, you better use it correctly. I don't know what the solution is as far as this gun control thing. There's a lot of factors that play into it. I know there's a lot of different viewpoints that I personally can't speak on because I'm not the expert of it. But as a 25-year-old living in this country and seeing what the news media outlet has progressing and seeing this pattern, I just don't think the government stepping in and saying, we're going to take away your guns, we're going to put more rules in place is really the solution to the problem.
Yeah, I honestly, after reading all of this, I don't know what the macro solution is, but I definitely do know on a micro level and as a community member, just making sure you check up on people around you, even strangers. Just say hi, smile to them. Make sure that they know that they are appreciated and that you're grateful to have this person in your life.
You never know, that one hi that you say to a stranger could be the diffuser of an act of evil. Like that one action that you do can have such a huge ripple effect, and you never know it. You never will know it. But the fact that you do it anyway, that's what being a good person is all about. It's taking care of humans as a whole, as a society, rather than, oh, fuck you, I don't care. It's caring about each other. And, you know,
Just
I think that,
a good person.
Yeah, I think that solves a lot of problems.
Yeah. I'll check up on you every day.
Thank you. Thank you. So what'd you bring to the table, huh?
Yes,
Let's switch.
Let's switch to a little lighthearted news. I mean, it's lighthearted, but
What did you bring?
so I won't tell you the title, but it happened on May 29th, just a few days ago, and it was at the Louvre Museum in Paris. And this man, he was a young man. He was in a wheelchair, and he was wearing a wig and lipstick. So he's dressed up as a girl, or an old lady, excuse me. And he jumped out of a wheelchair and attempted to smash the bulletproof glass of the Mona Lisa. And then he smeared the glass with cake.
Why?
So, you know, the Mona Lisa is covered in
bulletproof
glass. Yeah. So when he smeared the cake on the glass, he said, think about the earth. There are people who are destroying the earth. Think about it. All the artists tell you to think about the earth. All the artists think about the earth. That's why I did this. Think about the planet. And I thought it was kind of weird how he decided to dress up as an old lady and smear cake on the painting, which is obviously protected.
Was he arrested or anything? Like, what was the consequences of this?
They said that they don't know if they're going to press charges or not.
What?
Yeah. It made European news. I don't know if it made U.S. news.
I'm sure it's a viral video, going around somewhere.
Yeah, it was a weird video.
So he just smashed cake on it and just screamed, think about the earth?
Yeah.
What the heck is that going to do?
Let them eat cake. Yeah, that was it. That was my...
Okay, you bring up a good point. These activists that are very loud and think that's how you get the attention of things, what is that going to do? Like, think of my reaction to what you just told me. I'm laughing like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? That I don't think for 1 second, oh, I should probably go and recycle today.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think he's just kind of crazy.
Why did you smash a cake on the Mona Lisa?
Here, I'll show you a picture of him. Look, he does look a little crazy.
What is that going to do? This is another example of someone just trying to catch a headline for no reason because they have nothing better to do in their life. Like if you seriously care about the planet, you're not going to go smash a cake on one of the most recognized paintings in the world to get your message across.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking, but I thought it was funny. I don't know if I brought it up in a podcast, but it kind of relates to the cake. But in during one of my MCAT practice tests, I was reading an article on Greece and their olden like politics and things like that. And there's this thing called yogurting.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, when a politician or an elected official during that time, if they strayed away from Greece's um, society's values and goals and what they wanted, they would throw cups of yogurt at the politician because yogurt is one of the traditional foods of Greece. And so it's kind of reminding the politician to put back society's values that we want. And it kind of reminds me of that, but I thought it was interesting why he chose cake.
Well, that's not the way to get the message across. If you're going to get the message across, if you really care about the earth, go out and do something, not yell at and smear cake
Or
on a
yogurt.
painting or yogurt. Well, okay, that was a little culture thing, but why do that? I don't know. That's just, I think, the problem that we have. Like, everyone just thinks they can scream and yell, go viral, and then the message comes across. When really, you just got to take action and do something in the world. Make it better. Why are we screaming at others to make it better? I want to know what that guy's doing with his life.
Being an activist. But we definitely don't want this show to be just a talk about what things are going on in the world and what problems are there. And we really just want to talk about what things we can implement on a micro level that you can do there at home that are listening, and, try to make the world a better place starting with you.
We want to do solution-based talking where we just don't complain about it either, but we want to see the rational view in the world because it's not all that crazy. As much as we say the world's on fire and there's all sorts of shit going on, it's really not that crazy when we think about it. There's a lot of good that's happening in the world, and there's a lot smarter people out there that deserve more credit than it is. Like you said, it's being active in the community. It's talking to one another. It's expanding on different viewpoints, exploring each other's viewpoints, and learning and growing as a person. Because then once you figure out that viewpoint, you can apply it to your own business or whatever you're doing. And suddenly you just impacted the lives of many others on your level.
Well, I think that is it for us today. Let us know in the
Yes.
comments or reach out to us on our Instagrams. Let us know what you think about the gun control issue or even the Mona Lisa. Do you think people should stop seeing the Mona?
We just want to explore more things. And as this show goes on, of course, these topics will progress because you never know what's going to happen in the world. So it's just our way of exploring different and maybe sensitive things to see the bigger picture, or even to just see maybe what solutions that we can offer up. If you guys enjoyed this show, go ahead, share the show with a friend. We'd be happy to just entertain and just hear what other people have to say. So until next time, get out there, guys, get in the world, and keep having those everyday conversations. We'll see you guys soon.